Hello everyone, and thank you for tuning in to the 50th episode, the half century of Wowhead Weekly. We have a bunch of stuff to talk about today and a couple giveaways, so without further ado, I would like to introduce my lovely co-host, Wowhead site manager, Perculia.
Hey everyone, I'm very excited about Wowhead Weekly 50. This was the first and only show I've ever done, so I'm really excited. I've been doing this for 50 episodes.
I know.
And we have a really cute game for you planned, and we also have matching Murloc shirts and some news on how you can get them.
It's important to note that we have matching Murloc shirts,
Yes.
I think. Yeah, these are awesome shirts. We
I
only
know.
semi-planned to be matching. It was mostly like, Perk's like, what are you going to wear? And I was like, I'm going to wear whatever I find first. And this was it. And then she was already planning on wearing it. So great minds think alike. We'll talk a little bit more about our murky shirts in a minute. But first, let's talk a little bit about Wrath of the Lich King Time Walking, which I'm so excited about. As you guys know, with patch 6.2.2, which came out on Tuesday, bonus events now start on Wednesdays instead of Fridays. So they run for almost a whole week. You're only missing Tuesday for the bonus holiday events. And this week,
I think that's a good change.
I think it's a good change too. I think that a lot of people work on the weekends, or a lot of people just want the little bit of extra time to get stuff done, and people who enjoy it just want them to last longer. So this week's bonus holiday event is the Wrath of the Lich King Time Walking event, which allows you to scale down to do Wrath of the Lich King dungeons. You have to be level, 71 and higher?
81 or higher.
81 or higher.
Yeah.
And if you are interested in purchasing any of the Wrath of the Lich King Time Walking items, you do so in Dalaran, which is very fitting. There's all sorts of fun stuff that you can buy with those new Time Warped badges that were added. Like, look at this mount. This is the Ironbound Wraith Charger.
And it's also worth noting that all these items are sold by a new NPC called Ozin, and he's in that central area where the ICC statue/fountain is.
Yeah, right in the center of Dal, where you port in if you get a mage portal. Look at this mount, Perk.
It's so cool. It is also pretty expensive. It is 5,000 Time Warp badges, but we'll talk about the cost and why they're expensive in a few minutes. It's so cute. It's spending down. It's so cute.
I just really like all the armor on it. I think it looks very, very Wrath of the Lich King. It's
really, a very good Death Knight ICC mount. I like it.
I don't know. I think it looks a lot like a Pandaren Shaman mount. I'm just saying.
Oh yeah, it matches Tier 6 and Sky Shatter nicely. The shoulders.
I'm just a Pandaren Shaman. I'm being biased. There's also some toys and stuff that you can buy. The Hourglass of Eternity, which summons a future you. This is similar to Mysteries of the Infinite, and this sells for 2,000 Time Warp badges. Then there's the Will of Northrend. What does that turn you into, Perk?
It turns you into any of the 3 disguises that you can get if you're using Deathbringer's Will. If you're playing back in Wrath, it was a really overpowered trinket for melee, and it would proc a ton of 1 of 3 secondary stats and it would turn you into a Tonka, a Vrykul, or an Iron Dwarf. So this replicates the cosmetic effects, and maybe you'll feel a little bit better if you didn't win that awesome trinket back in the day from Sourfang.
Yeah, and this costs...
I had a heroic one.
Of course you did. Of course you did. This will cost you 1,500 Time Warp badges, and I think that this is the one that people said you actually can't use in combat. If you go into combat, I think it gets rid of the disguise. Is that right?
I'm not sure on that. I have to look that up.
I think that's the one.
Yeah.
Then there's also Grizzlesnout's Fang. For those of you who aren't shamans and you want to be a wolf, this will increase your movement speed in Northrend and also turns you into a wolf. That costs 750 Time Warp badges. Now, the costs of these have been cut from when we originally saw them on the PTR, but they also cut the drop rate of the Time Warp badges, so it kind of worked out to be the same. So they are kind of expensive. For killing a boss, you'll get 5 Time Warped badges. For killing the last boss, you'll get 10 Time Warped badges. For completing a random Time Walking dungeon, you'll get 10 Time Warped badges. And then there's also a once per holiday event quest called the Unstable Prism, which will give you 500 Time Warped badges, which is awarded when you are looting. So it'll be at the end of the first dungeon that you complete, correct?
Yeah, so it's a once per event thing, so basically if you do one, you get this thing for 500, and it's per character, so a really smart way to get these items is if you do them on a bunch of characters that are all under 81, and you can work towards different items at the same time, because a lot of them are account-wide.
Mm-hmm. Now, I know a lot of people are like, oh, this is so expensive. And I think the reason that people think it's expensive is that they're comparing these holiday events to like the big world holidays like, Midsummer or Winter's Veil. And I think it's important to keep in mind that these events are not once a year. They're once every like 6 or 8 weeks. So you can do them quite often. So I don't think it's intended for you to be able to grind out all of the prizes or even maybe the whole amount in one run. They kind of want this to be lasting content. And if they give you all the prizes at once, that takes that away.
Yeah, Watch Your Dev actually wrote a blue post on this because, during the PTR, we saw these really high amounts of badges dropping, and then we saw the cost got lowered, so we're like, we'll just run 5 dungeons and get this mount, and then it was a big shock when the amounts changed, but he basically was explaining that time walking is designed to be larger than just this patch. So, for example, if you're grinding out a 10-man rep mount, it's intended that the effort required, you can get that in 6.2, but something like time walking, it's meant to be spread out like evergreen content. So you're not meant to get every single item in this one time because you're meant to go back and enjoy it when Burning Crusade time walking comes, and when Wrath comes again and again, and they'll keep adding more things, which I think is pretty cool.
Yeah,
what do you think's going to be added?
I would love to see, I hope they add more mounts. Like, if they already have, say, Burning Crusade and Wrath of the Lich King time walking, I would like to think that eventually they'll have Cataclysm and Mists of Pandaria time walking, or maybe even Vanilla time walking, and that they'll add a mount that is themed to each of the expansions that you can, grind out for. What do you think if they did a Vanilla, what do you think the mount would be? Do you think it would, I hope they would do a Horde and Alliance one, so it'd be like a wolf and a horse. I really do.
I think that would be pretty cool. They could also do something where they take the mounts you got from Trial of the Crusader on 10-man, like the Swift Alliance Steed and the Wolf, and did like a recolor of them, or maybe the same ones. I think that'd be pretty cool. And also, I think there's going to be like a troll theme time walking, because there's always stuff with trolls.
Yeah.
So,
do you think that they'll branch off from just doing expansion theme? Do you think they will do it in that way, where it will be like, here's a bunch of like Naga instances, and here's a bunch of like Ogre instances? Because I actually really like that idea.
I mean, I think that they'd have to alter the tech a little bit because the troll instances are from different expansions, so you couldn't just say, like, level 16 up can do it, but I think maybe they could just say whatever, you have to be 81, even if one technically you could be 71 for, like, hey, you can do more if you're higher up. But yeah, that'd be really cool, I think, or people had ideas like, the attunement edition, do all the ones that you needed for, Hand of a Doll.
Oh, that's interesting,
or, like, bringing the Pain edition. I'm sure they won't do it, but, like, do Shadow Labs and the Oculus and all the ones you never
I don't want to do that one, though. Whoever has that idea can
You could have really crazy ones. Like, I mean, you could get cooler things from doing those.
Or like all the engineering
like the Oculus
type.
Mount. Yeah, if you could get an Oculus Mount if you did the Oculus, that would be a cool event.
Oh yeah, that would be neat. I think there's a lot of things that they could do with time walking that would be really interesting, but I definitely think that over time we will see all the different expansions added. And since we already have like the Burning Crusade with the, the Burning Crusade mount and the Wrath of the Lich King with the Wrath of the Lich King mount, I would be very interested to see what they do going forward. Maybe it would be another one of those like volcanic-y drakes for Cataclysm. Mists of Pandaria would probably be like a turtle.
Yeah, they do have a few unused colored cloud serpents still, so they could totally do that. I also think it would be cool if they had cosmetic rewards. The Burning Crusade badge gear looks really iconic.
Yeah.
But, the Wrath gear looks kind of boring and, like, stuff you can easily farm up. So it would be cool if you could get recolors that only the NPCs are wearing. Because, like, it's like, this is tier 6, but, like,
this is the
green
time
instead of blue.
Tier 6.
Yeah.
That's a really good idea.
I think that'd be fun.
I think, I don't know, I really like the idea of making content that was previously obsolete, giving you incentive to do it again. So I'm all for it, even if it is recolored mounts or recolored transmog gear or whatnot. I think that it's a good idea, and I support them doing it completely.
This just reminded me, one more a great suggestion our Hunter guide writer, actually, Bendek Wowhead, was more time jukebox music scrolls. You could get the music from the instance. There are actually a few unused ones.
What is going to happen with the jukebox when there's
I know! It needs to go to your class hall. It needs to be portable. Or I think they should do more with the jukebox.
Portable would be a good idea, just to turn it into, like, a jukebox man or something, like, that, like, you could, because that would be neat, because then you could listen to the music wherever you were, and you could choose, like, the music everybody else hears, or you could just listen to whatever music you want.
Yeah.
That's all they'd really have to do. I can't imagine that would be too difficult. But I'm not a game developer.
Yeah, I mean, I know a lot of people are like, oh man, Halls of Lightning, I got this music scroll. And it's like, oh, wouldn't it be cool if you could pick up music from the other
Yeah,
instances?
absolutely. That's a great idea. Now also, this happened. This is a thing that happened. The Dark Moon Fair is live on this Sunday, and there's a new toy in the Dark Moon Fair, and we've seen it before. I'm getting deja vu at this Dark Moon Seesaw, which is funny because this is like the only image we have of it right now, and it's kind of hard to see. But it's adorable. It's a toy that you set down, and then is it you and a friend, or is it you and an NPC that do the little seesaw?
I'm not sure. This image actually is back.
Yeah, it's like
way
2.5 years
years
old.
ago. Mr. Pandaria, they thought that there would be new items going up on the shop, and the transmog helps made it, but there were some items that never did, such as a seesaw.
Yeah.
So this is the image used to promote the seesaw on the shop that never made it to the shop. And we assume it looks exactly the same because it's still a seesaw.
Yeah. It's funny, and this isn't mentioned in our notes or anything, but a lot of people say things about like, oh, I really wish that there weren't so many like store things, and I wish that there were more things in game. And recently, we've seen a lot of stuff that was originally planned to be a store-only item that they instead implemented in game as something that you can earn. The Ironbound Wraith Charger was originally announced as a store mount. The Dark Moon Seesaw, I did a video about it. I remember making a video about it way back when the store first started coming and was like getting popular. And I mean, there's another item that they decided against selling it, and instead you'll be able to earn it in game. So I wonder what other things are going to come out of the woodwork, or how many things maybe behind the scenes that we don't even know that were originally planned. Like, what if this whole time like Coal Fist was planned to be a store mount? We just don't even know.
Plot
twist.
That would be interesting. Like, I know it's funny, there's so many weird data things, like, there's meant to be all these Gronling pets when 6.0 came live, and they never used them, and they took the NPC data and renamed them to, like, Mercadan and all these other ones.
Yeah.
So it's funny because as we were data mining it, we're like, oh, it's called a Dwarf Gronling, but the description's for Mercadan. So that was just funny.
Yeah, I totally agree. And if you have not been to... moving on, I didn't mean to jump. No, there was no transition. If you haven't been to the Dark Moon Fair recently, if they added this new thing in 6.2 called Dark Moon Dagger Maw, you can fish them up. Your fishing skill does not matter. You can be level 1 and you can fish up Dark Moon Dagger Maw.
It's a really great way to level.
Yeah, it really is, because you can use them as currency to get all sorts of fun things, one of which is like my favorite pet of all time. His name is Blorp. He doesn't give a crap. He just does whatever he wants. He swims into your face. He's very derpy. I love him. But there's also like a ghost shell crab pet. There's like elixirs and stuff that'll turn you into, you'll get bigger or smaller. You can also get feasts that will make you also fancy. So very fun. If you are interested in doing that, the Dark Moon Fair is live on Sunday. I personally just need to hand in all my Dark Moon Fair quests. I have all these items in my bag. Like, I think I've looted every single lootable quest for Dark Moon Fair, and I just keep forgetting to hand them in. So I'm gonna do it.
I'll probably fish up enough fish, because if you get 100, you can turn them in for a quest that gives you 100 tokens, and then I'll buy the seesaw with that. Because
I didn't know that.
I'm like kind of close to 200 toys, so I could use the seesaw.
The seesaw would be fun in a raid anyways, unless they make it not usable in raids. I went and bought I bought the Ogre Pinata on eBay, and I was like, this is going to be so great, and I used it in my raid. Every time we'd get into a raid, I'd drop it, everybody would take bubble gum, we'd be blowing bubble gum while we're fighting the boss. It was the greatest thing ever. And then in 6.2, they patched it so that you can't use it when you're in a raid for whatever reason, so that was really, really depressing for me. But there's a lot of new stuff that came in 6.2.2, other than the toy that we just talked about, and the stuff with time walking. Of course, they added flying, and with flying, they added some flying-only areas. Do you want to talk a little bit about them, Perk?
Yeah, sure. So we previewed these flying areas before, but we're getting a lot of questions about them, especially if you don't really pay attention to PTR news, so we're just going to recap this all quickly. There are a bunch of rares in 3 new areas, and they all drop pretty cool loot. And the first one up is Fell Overseer Mudlump. You might remember him from the Booterang quest for the Netherwing rep grind. And he is in Uninstance Hellfire Citadel, and he drops the Spike Toad Booterang, which dismounts you on a mount, so, that's a pretty trolling item. And in Eastern Tanan Jungle, there are 3 Fell Orcs, and they drop Crash and Thrashin toys. The Roller is dropped by Dracum, the Cannon Controller is dropped by Gondar, and the Mortar Controller is dropped by Smash and Grab. And these count towards the Iron Armada achievement. They're these really adorable Iron Horde toys, and it's worth killing them every day because you can sell the toys on the auction house, and they go for a lot of money because people are working towards toy achievements. And the third one is the uninstanced in Uninstance High Mall. There are these ogres, and they drop these little Mana Fiend magic pets. The Empowered one by Pug, Energized by Rugdug, and Imperial by Guck. And you can
freaking ogres in their names.
I know. You can loot them once a day, and you can use Group Finder to quickly find people because they are pretty hard to solo. And it's once a day per character, so you can bring as many characters as you like that can access these areas and kill them for these items. So far I've gotten one toy and all of the pets, and I've sold a duplicate toy for like 40,000.
Oh my god. I didn't think they would go, the toys would go for much. That's a lot.
I know. I was just like, that's whatever, and then I saw people selling it for, I'm like, I'll just put it up, and it sold. So
that's amazing. I want to do that.
Yeah, that's my progress so far.
You've given me, you're ruining this though. I'll look at all these people. They're probably all on my server, and we're all just going to compete to sell that toy. Yeah, that's exciting. I haven't gotten the pets yet because I was in Vegas when 6.2 went live. So I actually got on, my plane landed, I came home, I took like a half-hour nap, I raided, and then I went to bed. So I haven't even like flown yet. I haven't done anything. I mean, I can fly, I just haven't done it yet. So maybe I'll start working on some of that stuff this weekend. But also, there's some updates, some pet updates, and some Murloc speculations. Pet bandages now stacked to 250, up from 25, which is really nice.
I was so excited about this. Like,
oh my god.
I was just deleting stacks of bandages.
Yeah, that frees up so many stacks because I like to keep them all on like one character, and it gets to the point where it's like, holy crap, like what do I do with all these bandages?
Right.
So that was a really good change. And now this guy, Turkey, Terky, not turkey like the turkey, was a China-only iCode promotion, but his source code in the data has been changed to drop white Murloc egg. And also, there's a tracking quest in the data in 6.2.2 that's Battle Pet Turkey. So,
yeah.
Tinfoil hat, what the heck? That can't possibly be China-only anymore. How are we going to get it, Perk? Look, I brought out my little Funko Pop turkeys that you guys could. I see yours is so behind you. You have the little white plushie guy. But this just released at GameStop like maybe like a month and a half, 2 months ago. So I don't know if that's coincidental too. Yeah. I know. Huh. Look at him. Isn't he adorable?
Yeah. So my theory is that we have a Murloc Celebration wand also in the data from 6.2. So my guess is Celebration.
Maybe there's going to be one of those achievements. You know the achievements where you have to like change all the like a night elf into every Halloween costume.
Right.
I wonder if it's going to be something like that, and then you get the Murloc.
I think it's not going to be available throughout the year, but definitely something like Hollow's End. Or the anniversary celebration.
I think it's going to be the anniversary. Just a thought. Yeah. I don't know why I feel that way so much, but I feel like if they were going to do... I feel like, number one, Murloc pets are a huge deal. They don't just give them away. Like, all the Murloc pets are either from BlizzCon or collector's editions of something or some sort of external promotion. Are there any Murlocs you can actually just get in-game, other than the arena one, which you still have to pay to be on the arena realms, right? So, like, I kind of
and you actually have to win stuff on the arena realms.
And I know, I did that as well. It was painful, because you guys know how good I am at arena. But, anyways, backtracking. I don't think it's just going to be Halloween, because that's, like, way too casual for a Murloc. But I do think that it could be possible that it would be this huge deal where you get a Murloc if you're participating in whatever the anniversary event is, and people would be super hype about it because free Murloc. Come on.
Yeah. Also, more tinfoil hat. Back when Wowhead did April Fools, one of our jokes was that there would be BlizzCon would be an in-game holiday, and we had vendors that were popular NPCs from all the Blizzard games selling things like Murloc disguises and special Murloc toys that would summon Murlocs for the duration of BlizzCon. So
all your April Fool jokes are just happening, Perk.
Yeah, we had the events coordinator too, who was like had currency and you could change your buildings to look like different things.
We're getting close, man. We're getting close to like our perfect world. But we're pretty excited because it seems like there's gonna be an in-game Murloc that you will be able to get without paying for anything without doing anything extra, no collector's edition. It seems like it's going to be something that you can earn in game.
Yeah,
which
we should just
is exciting.
We should caution people that.
Oh yeah,
we found the Pepe disguises like months ago. We still haven't found Pepe in games, so don't take what we're saying as like there will be a Murloc pet on November, whatever. Like this is just us making.
Did you hear that, guys? She said in November.
November nth.
November. That was like they said Overwatch was coming out on fall the 12th.
Yeah.
That and the Murloc pet. So of course, anything we find in the data. All right, let me rephrase that. Anything Perk finds in the data, I don't find anything. It's always tentative and subject to change. I mean, that seesaw was from 3 years ago. So of course, it's good to get hype, but don't get like painfully hype.
Right.
I do think this is probably going to be Pepe 2.0 though. We're not going to know he's there until he's there. They're not going to give up because now people are already getting excited about it, so the anticipation of the whole thing. Speaking of anticipation, we got tons of new Legion information today, which is very excited. Alvine and MMO Central events attended and live tweeted about all the stuff involving Demon Hunters, which is super, super exciting. We found out, confirmed, Demon Hunters are going to start at level 98. Thoughts, Perk?
I mean, I think it makes sense because the starting experience is probably going to take you from 98 to 100.
Yeah.
And then you start on equal footing. Like, it would be weird if you started at 100 and then you
were
ahead of everyone when you hit the Broken Isles. Also, it's subject to change. Like, I'm sure if they do the starting experience and they're like, wow, there are a billion quests, we should maybe make them start at 95 or have abilities flow better, they'll do that. But yeah, right now it's at 98, and it fits in with what they were saying at Gamescom, that they thought it would be between like 95 or 100.
We also found out that Demon Hunters will not only be able to use glaives, they'll also be able to use one-handed swords. Now this threw me a little bit for a loop. Does that mean that like the DPS Demon Hunters are going to use, like, are they going to use a sword and a glaive? Because they said like there's no weapon drops. So does that imply that one of their artifacts is a sword?
I mean, so I had one of two ideas. The first was that your glaives would like split. Your glaive would become two swords for mechanics purposes, or if you were like going back and farming old content, you could equip swords and mod your glaives to swords.
Your glaives into swords. Yeah. Okay.
Like the war glaives or swords. Well, you can't mod legendaries, but if there were other things that look like.
So basically what they're saying is they're coding war glaives as swords. Got it. We also found out that Demon Hunter Metamorphosis is a short-term effect that shows your inner demon.
So it's not like the Warlock Metamorphosis where it's just like, bam, I am a purple demon for a continuous amount of time.
Yeah, it sounds like it's going to be very similar to what Demonology Warlocks have going on now, which also sort of explains why Demonology Warlocks are broken, because that's not how they're going to work at all. So they want people to ease out of playing them so that it's not such a culture shock when they get a full rehaul. That's also speculation, not confirmation. They also said, and this is a quote too, that Illidan is ready to lead Demon Hunters against the Legion. So
they also said no spoiler. They also said like no spoilers. I'm like, well, that kind of is a spoiler.
That's a spoiler. I don't know, because that means Illidan would be on your side, which means that Illidan's got to be kind of a good guy, unless Demon Hunters are in some third evil faction. I don't know.
Maybe he wants them to be like a third faction. Like,
do you think
you guys can fight the Legion, but don't get corrupted by the weird?
Yeah. Do you think maybe it's going to be like pre-evil Illidan?
I'm not sure. Maybe he'll feel coerced to do it, or he'll hate Gul'dan more than the Alliance and Horde. And we have to keep in mind that they want everyone to band together with their class, not the Alliance and Horde to fight this. So maybe Illidan will just be like, okay, Demon Hunters, all the other classes are awful. Just let's all stick together and like.
Do you think he's going to be a big part of that 98 to 100 starting experience?
Yeah, I mean, maybe like. If you all get awakened at the same time because you're all in that same prison, I'm sure he has to be involved with that. Yeah. And that would be such a good hook, like, play a Demon Hunters. For your first quest, you get to see Illidan. Like, that just sounds super cool.
That does sound really cool. So
also speculation, I don't know what the first quest is.
Perk has no insider information, so... we also got some more information about professions, which I'm excited about, because I think one of the biggest...
got like hardly anything at Gamescom.
Yeah, well, I more so am excited about it because I think that one of the biggest complaints about this current expansion is that professions were in a weird place. I mean, I don't want to say in a bad place, just a weird place. So it's exciting to hear that there's going to be some overhauling. There's going to be very little or no cooldown on gated profession materials for crafting. So that would imply, like, right now, like when you're making the like a scribe makes the paints, you can only make 10 of them a day. So that would mean that there shouldn't be a cooldown, or there'll be a very slight cooldown on making those types of materials so that you can grind out and you don't have to wait day by day, correct?
Yeah. And they also were saying that they want professions to be a more guided experience, which ties into what they're saying at Gamescom about there being profession quests, and also that you might see some of these materials, these reagents, as drops from dungeons instead.
Yeah.
So instead of doing like personal cooldowns, you'll be having to do some sort of group content to get the materials for your professions.
Which also kind of ties into people who thought that dungeons weren't relevant enough this expansion. So they kind of two birds with one stone there. There's also going to be stage upgrade system changes. You'll be able to incinerate old gear and get materials that you can use to craft higher gear, which right now you can kind of do with, that's a very Diablo thing.
Yeah, I mean, a few Diablo things came up. Like, we've got the transmog, we've got this adventure mode thing. We'll talk about that in a few. But I think it's an improvement on the old system because right now, like, say you had a bunch of stage 1 items and they were, like, 10 different items. Like, you couldn't do anything with the other 9. But right now, it's like, oh, I made a stage 1 hat and a stage 1 chest and legs. I can incinerate all of them for this one material, and then I can use that material for any.
You can do that in Borderlands
stage 2 upgrade.
too. In Borderlands, you can go to like this machine and you can put in like 3 or 4 legendary or whatever they call them in that game, and you'll get out a better weapon or whatever at your current level. So I think that's a good system that a lot of games use. That again, it gives you more incentive. Like even if you don't need gear out of dungeons, you can put all of the gear that you earn in dungeons towards getting a piece of gear you actually do need. So again, it incentivizes playing. It makes content more relevant.
I also like the idea if you're in a dungeon, like suppose you really need an item craft, you can say, hey, person that knows this recipe, you need stuff and it drops in a dungeon. Let's all go to the dungeon together and I'll help you get the items. You can craft this awesome epic for me.
Yeah.
So I think that's good too.
Yeah, and also worth noting is that there'll be no crafted weapons, which I guess is not super surprising considering I think the only weapons in Legion are artifacts. And there's also no new major glyphs, which some people are kind of upset about, but I would assume that they're going to add something so that scribes can continue to make money, whether it's
scribes
glyphs or not.
Right now would be hit pretty hard if their weapons and offhands, that's going away, and their glyphs are also going away. They didn't really say what was replacing them, and there's also some confusion that there would be no major glyphs existing in Legion versus no new major glyphs.
Yeah.
So, this is all really preliminary. There's no transcript or video of this. We're just sort of going by tweet summaries, and maybe a few nuances got lost here and there.
Yeah.
That's the basic idea.
Yeah. So, and I wouldn't, again, everything we're talking about, the beta isn't live yet. Everything is super tentative, subject to change. So don't panic. You never know what's going to happen between then and now. Speaking of transmog, you were just talking about that a minute ago. Transition. The transmog system that is going to be in Legion is very similar to the Diablo, and it possibly will be account wide, which would be ungodly exciting. Like, I don't even know how to handle my feelings with that, because one of my big complaints about playing a shaman is that I have this shield. I have not a single shield that matches my transmog that I have on my shaman. But my paladin has like a bank full of just shields. So it's like I wish I could just like tap into my paladin stuff in that aspect. And I have a lot of characters that could share gear and stuff like that. So I would be beside myself excited if we could do account-wide transmog.
One note that I forgot to put in was that they were saying that there would be class restrictions, so, your shaman tier 6 could not be usable by a hunter, but I'm curious what that would mean for things like challenge mode armor sets. Like, suppose you have 2 tunes of the same class, and it's like, well, like, my alliance, it might be cool if, Warlock A has a set and Warlock B doesn't, but Warlock B can now use that set for whatever reason. Yeah, that's a good point. I didn't think of that. Really, any tier set in that manner, but transmogs, or
Challenge modes is a good example. There's also no additional void storage planned, but because of the impending transmog system, your void storage should be like empty.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't imagine you have that many
Mine
holiday items.
helped a lot. Yeah.
I really hope that when they do the new transmog system too, that they do something about the awesome vanity holiday items that can't be transmogged. The Vile Fumigator's helmet is always the one that comes to mind for me.
Also the starting gear. Like the really cool Pandaren and Worgen starting gear.
Yeah, any of the starting gear really, or like the DK starting gear, whatever, all of it should be kind of automatic. Like you shouldn't have to go back and get it somewhere. Like if you are a shaman, you should be able to transmog to your starting set. Anyways, I'm super excited for the transmog system. I like really can't deal with how excited I am. I'm excited for like many reasons. The bag space is huge though.
Yep.
The bank space is huge, and I really hope they overhaul the holiday items. There's just so many good ones. Like, I know some of them are silly, like the bunny ears and stuff, but I don't think there's already silly things you can transmog, and you could transmog so ugly. Like, I don't think that, like, the aesthetic of it is a valid reason. And like, there's a lot of things that are cool that aren't weird, like the halo that you can get from Midsummer and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, that matches the Circlet of Faith, which is considered to be a helm for a really pretty set, so why can't that be?
Yeah, I don't know. I just think you should be able to do it. I think it would be fun. There's just a lot of awesome, even like the little, like the rose, the Forever Lovely rose and stuff like that. I don't, like if you have like a gear set that there's not a helmet that really matches, like that's not, I don't know. I just don't think it's that outlandish.
Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of outlandish things that you can currently transmog to, or even if it's all normal and you're wearing like neon blue and pink and purple and orange.
Yeah, with the new Blood Elf models, there's like an entire set of plate gear that is like underboob. Like so much underboob. Like if underboob is appropriate, bunny ears should also be appropriate. I'm just saying. It seems fair.
And I think it would make people actually want to collect those items more, because right now people are like, okay, can I add it to my collection? Is it a mount, a pet, a toy? And it's like, oh, why do I want this cosmetic thing that will just eat up bag space?
Or they should make them toys. That's a good idea too, where you use it and it cosmetically changes your helmet.
Like the safari hat. Like, precedent for that. They could totally do that.
Yeah, that would be a good option as well. One of those things needs to happen. Perk.
I want more toy box help.
Someone better be listening. Is there a Blizz dev in the chat? Are you listening?
Yeah. So I'm hoping they revamp the toy box in addition to doing something about these weird common quality items that have a lot of charm that you can't really do anything with right now.
I totally agree. I mean, it's almost like a little insulting to the developers who created them, and then all these people love them, and then they just don't get used. They just rot in a bank somewhere.
Your item wasn't cool enough to be a toy. Like,
aww. But they could just make like the bunny ears a toy that like you click it, it lasts 5 minutes, done. I mean, they have the wings that work like that. And like you said, they have the safari hat that's going to work like that. That's a great idea. You have great ideas, Perk, just so you know. There's also a bunch of class changes that they talked about in this little Dragon Con thingamajig. Like some specs are getting renamed to emphasize the fantasy aspect of World of Warcraft. Did they mention any specific ones?
No, I'm curious because we've heard about some classes that they want to do big things to, like survival hunters or rogues to make them more distinct. Yeah. But I'm just curious, like, I don't really have any idea, and I wonder what sounds boring, right? I mean, I guess you have, like, holy paladins and holy priests, like, that could be a candidate for changing names. That could be a candidate.
Or we've heard so much about rogues getting, like, this swashbuckly sort of esque feeling, and it makes me wonder, like, none of the, like, combat, assassination, subtlety, none of those sound piratey to me.
Yeah,
so like,
I agree.
You know what I mean? Like, I wonder if something's gonna happen there, or like you said, survival hunters. And you just mentioned this as well, but survival hunters will be melee in Legion. They'll get a harpoon ability to like, they'll be able to like toss their spear and like reel it in.
That sounds so cool.
That just sounds hysterical, because that's what hunters need, is a taunt.
Wouldn't it be cool if there was a glyph where like the spear had a random appearance of a spear that you owned, kind of like the Warlock glyph, where your demon has an axe that's in your bag. Like, that would be really, really neat.
Or if it like tossed a net too, like the harpoon tossed a net, so you could get like 3 of them instead of just one. And this is bad news for Perk, so I'm just going to say it so Perk doesn't have to. It sounds like Rogue's Class Hall is going to be in the sewers. That doesn't sound like it's something that's up for debate. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to interpret the tone from a tweet that's summarizing what's going on there, but it's basically like, you know, it's gonna be in the sewers, like, sorry, like, you know, Ravenholt's a mansion in the middle of nowhere, like, we've got this sort of misguided love for Ravenholt, and the sewers are not ugly. They called your like,
love misguided. That's so rude.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what the exact quote was, and Crafticus does not seem like a snarky guy in general, but, you know, I guess we'll see. Maybe sewers are the wrong word. Maybe they mean, like, underground hideaway.
Yeah, maybe it'll be some sort of cool, like, hidden area. I would also really like it if you know the little Easter egg that's in the current Dalaran that's Splinter and the 4 turtles.
Yeah, that
would be cool if that was in the rogue area too, because they're little rogues.
Yeah. I mean, I also think that maybe because, like, Ravenholt was, like, seriously damaged during the Rogue Legendary quest line, that's like, oh, well, you can't be in Ravenholt because it doesn't really exist, but, you know, your dailies will...
Here's the thing, though, Perk. I love you. I love you. But, like, you're going to get a double hearth because you're going to be able to hearth to your class hall that's already in Dalaran, and you're going to get to, like, set your hearth in Dalaran. It's going to be so convenient. Yeah, and, like, Dalaran's too convenient. The best. It's amazing. I'm going to be in a cave in the middle of literally nowhere. So I don't even want to hear your complaints, okay? Like, you're going to be able to put up, like, who knows, like, neon lights and all sorts of cool rogue things, spatter the walls with blood. I'm going to be able to carve into a rock. Because that's my house. Like, I don't want to hear it at all. Yeah, I'm considering re-rolling, so I don't. I think
it's too close to stuff. Like, if warlocks are meant to be in this plane that's not even in a capital city, they're in some, like, demon land. Like, that seems really far away from stuff.
There'll probably be a portal to Dalaran wherever any class hall is. Anyways.
That makes sense. Because right now it just feels like, oh, you're meant to explore the world. Well, rogues don't. They just.
I don't know. I'm seriously considering playing my Druid in Legion because I bet their class hall is going to be amazing. Everything.
Yeah, well, Shaman get Doomhammer.
I don't because I'm Resto. Only enhancement shamans get Doomhammer. Oh, right.
Yeah.
Who knows what I'll get?
You could off-spec enhancement.
Ew. I'm not doing that. I'm done with you. I'm not doing that. Oh, speaking of Druids, no Moonkin model planned.
Well, they said huge Moonkin model, so everyone is fiercely debating if that means that people are getting models, but they're not huge upgrades, what that probably means nothing.
Is they'll add a minor glyph that makes your Moonkin small. Like the trolliest thing ever.
It's so outdated that it's like, what would a minor update even be? Because they need a lot of updating to be more high resolution.
I have no idea. I have no idea how that's not a priority with anyone. Because every other class, Druids are getting a second round of new models. Like, Feral Druids are getting a second, like, patch, what was it? I want to say 2.3? 3.2?
Yeah.
Patch 3.2 added new Feral Druid models way back in the day. And now they're getting a second round of new Feral Druid models.
I guess Moonkin, they added that glyph where you show your humanoid form. But and they can be like, I know it's not the same.
And it's not even a model. Yeah. All it is like a glittery version of who you are.
So then you forget you're in Moonkin form.
So then you forget you're in Moonkin form.
You're like, oh, I'm always a humanoid.
Yes, I dislike. Shadow Priests are also getting a new resource called Insanity.
Yeah, they said that maybe be like a renamed one, but they didn't say what was getting changed or unused.
Don't they have the orb things right now? I don't play a Shadow Priest.
Yeah, they've got the orbs they use for a few things.
So are they going to also have orbs, or are they going to have Insanity? Because that'd be a lot to manage.
I mean, I feel that the orbs are pretty iconic, so I don't think they'd be going anywhere. Like, they've got the glyph that makes the ravens, and... Yeah, I mean, I feel like the orbs pretty much have to say. Maybe they'll get renamed.
That's a lot of resources to manage. Unless maybe they're not going to have mana. Maybe they'll just have Insanity.
I mean, I have no idea. I mean, they seem to want to simplify things and emphasize a fantasy, so they could just say, hey, the orbs look cool and mana is some other thing. Let's just be Insanity.
Let's just be Insanity. There were also some general changes that will affect a little bit of everyone.
Is big. Yeah.
Yeah. So multi-strike isn't going to be a thing.
Yeah, it's going to be gone. Like, they tried it out on Warlords. I guess they didn't really like it, so that's gone. And they didn't say details on the others, but there's going to be some changes to other stats. Yeah.
Like, Shamans have I mean, I don't use it, but Shamans have their last tier ability. One of the 3 choices is, I want to say it's called Cloudburst Totem, and it only affects your multi-strikes. That's what that ability does. So, I mean, when you're removing something like multi-strike, I'm sure that's really huge for a lot of things. So that's scary. I'm scared.
Yeah. It's gonna be cool when we actually see some sample talents and talent calculators to say like, hey, your ability or like master your attunement that relied on multi-strike is gone, but this is what we're doing instead. I think that will make a lot of people feel better.
Oh, excuse me, I'm sorry. Yeah, and there's also some big plans in store for Jaina. Khadgar is going to be leading the Kirin Tor in Legion, not her.
Yeah, I'm curious what that's going to be. Just because, people debate WoW lore and they say it's kind of bumpy sometimes, or it seems that people have like really sudden personality shifts. Or
Jaina went a little bit crazy in recent times. Like she's been real angry lately, so maybe that's for the best.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully I feel like she was this peacekeeper for a while, and then she got a lot of hate for suddenly, like, snapping and getting angry when she had a lot of, really terrible things happen to her, so, I just hope it proceeds in a logical, fashion with her. Like, I always thought it was a little weird how Sylvanas and Silver Pine, like, it just seemed like she was able to be hurt really easily in that low-level quest line, so I hope it's not something cartoonish that happens to Jaina for the sake of an awkward plot thing.
Yeah. We also found out that the old park in Stormwind is still not going to be rebuilt.
Yeah, I didn't think it was that big a deal, but everyone's like, oh my god, like, it's never been rebuilt after 5 years, so,
Sorry,
it's
guys.
news. Yeah.
Sorry. And there's also going to be no major pet updates at launch.
Yeah, people were asking about the breeding system, which was teased as a maybe thing a few BlizzCons ago, and they're like, hey,
it wasn't teased as a maybe thing. It was, like, full-fledged announced. Just saying. They said at the BlizzCon that they announced Draenor, they said that you would straight up be able to Mists of Pandaria. At the BlizzCon that they announced Mists of Pandaria, they said you would be able to breed your battle pets to make epic battle pets.
Yeah, I mean, that's still actually in the data.
No, that was in Draenor because it was at the pet area.
Yeah, no, but in Mists of Pandaria, there was data. Like, every pet is male or female in the data.
Oh.
So, it's even the ones they're making now, they assign them that stuff in the data. Like, they have the same breeds, except when, like, a male is breed 4 and a female is breed 14, and they have the same stats, and maybe one day there'll be something. It's still there.
They clearly thought about it. Okay, so there was also a thing that Perk talked about earlier in, like, 2 words, but now we're really going to talk about it. Transition. Transition. There's going to be an adventure mode in Legion.
Yeah, for context of this, it wasn't talked about at the panel, but Elvine afterwards, basically Crafticus was saying that there's a lot of information that they're going to talk about at BlizzCon that they're not going to talk about now, and one of those things was some sort of adventure mode. So if you play Diablo, adventure mode is kind of familiar, but if you don't, here's just a sort of a quick recap of it. It's basically after you, like, unlock, like, you sort of, like, clear all the acts in Diablo, you can go back and explore any zone you like on various difficulties and go farm that area for stuff. And in adventure mode, there are certain, like, bounties or daily quests where you go to an area and you kill a boss, or you clear an event or a dungeon, and if you do a few of them, you get this thing called a Rift Keystone, and that unlocks a Nephilim Rift, where it's like a randomized zone that's meant to give you really good loot or currency that you can use to buy really good loot. So I'm sure that, like, that's not going to be, like, transplanted into WoW exactly, but that's sort of what adventure mode means in another Blizzard game.
It almost made me think of, like, the keys in Mists of Pandaria that were in the Isle of Thunder. The Isle of Thunder? Yeah.
And then you could,
key. Yeah, like, you could get the keys and then you could go run that thing. Maybe it'll be something like after you clear all the quests in an area, you can go back and, like, grind out mobs, like, in a phase zone where nobody can see you and get, like, those keys or something, or get a bunch of items you can turn into a key, and then you can run something like one of those treasure runs.
Yeah, and I also feel that we've got some tech set up with bonus events that are similar, like, in Tanan, if you go to a certain area when you're on a quest and it triggers, like, the progress bar, and then you get the oil or whatever when you're done, I feel like, even there's that daily, it's like, oh, complete 2 bonus objectives, and then you get reputation with Hand of the Prophet or Vol'jin. So I feel that that could be kind of the basis for this. Yeah. And it just came to mind, but I remember Mists of Pandaria, Proving Grounds was really good to sort of show your worth, like, oh, I'm really good, I got endless, like, 10 or 30, and I feel like maybe, I don't know how they do this, but if there are different difficulties involved, like Diablo, maybe that could be a way of showing how good you are at soloing things. Like, oh, I did this on like mythic solo mode, and I'm really good at doing this. So that would be cool if like they have all the scaling tech for like time walking and challenge. Like maybe this is like time walking tech, but just sort of a solo,
like a solo version of time walking. Yeah, who knows? I'm excited.
Or it could be the next version of time walking, like
time walking 2.0.
Yeah.
Who knows? I'm excited to see where it goes. Like I said, I'm always very pro keeping content relevant for a longer amount of time, whether that be through harder to obtain rewards or something like scaling. I'm always into things not becoming obsolete as quickly. So I'm excited to see what the heck that means for adventure mode in World of Warcraft, and I'm just it's exciting. It's exciting. I hope it happens. Again, pretty much everything that we've talked about so far this video past the 6.2.2 stuff is highly speculative, subject to change. It's all very tentative. So just keep that in mind.
Yep.
So transition.
Yep. On to other cool things.
So as you can see, we're wearing some awesome murky shirts. We matched today. Jinx sent us a bunch of stuff. Here's the stuff that they sent us. I got the package with all the Horde stuff in it, and here is Perk's stuff that's got a bunch of Alliance stuff in it because reasons. They have all sorts of new stuff on their site right now. Blizzard t-shirts and tank tops and hoodies, new Heroes of the Storm stuff, Diablo stuff, World of Warcraft stuff. A lot of the new WoW stuff is Horde and Alliance specific. And what's kind of cool is that many of the t-shirts are made to look like vintage product designs. So there's one that's like kind of looks like a Little Caesars logo. There's one that looks like kind of like sriracha hot sauce.
Yeah, that's the Diablo one. It's super fun.
Yeah, which kind of it kind of gives them a more wearability to them though. Like if you're in places that aren't necessarily like super nerd centric, it'll kind of just look like, oh, that's a cool t-shirt.
Yeah, they're pretty clever.
Yeah, without having to like get the reference to think it was cool.
Yeah.
And what was super nice is that Jinx gave us a coupon code for you guys. You'll get 25% off any t-shirt at jinx.com if you use code Wowhead in the month of September, which is a really great coupon. 25% is a big deal, especially since it's not limited to Blizzard items, any t-shirt. And you can sort the website by t-shirt. Like you can select just t-shirts of all type, so you know exactly what in their data is coded as a t-shirt. So
yeah, and you can also search by game as well if you're just like, oh, I really want the WoW ones or the Heroes ones. I would search around because I think the Diablo one is considered a Heroes shirt, or like this murky one was made for Heroes, but you might think it's in WoW. So yeah. And yeah, very excited about this. Thank you, Jinx.
Yeah.
I've got a little cute pop figurine they sent me.
You can't see him. He's up too high. He's up too high. But thank you so much to Jinx. We'll tweet this out a little bit later or sometime over the weekends that you guys can see it again if you're interested. But that was really awesome of them. And now Perk and I have a bunch of matching shirts. So because that's what we need is more matching outfits. Jeez. Now we've shown you the giveaway. We're going to talk about giveaway. We've shown you the coupon. Now we're going to talk about giveaway number 1. And I'm going to have Perk talk a little bit about this because it's very Wowhead centric.
Yeah, so we're giving away a modeled Drake. It's a really cool TCG mount. It's a unique recolor of some of the Drakes in game, and we're giving it away to one lucky user who comments or links their favorite thing in 6.2.2 on our survival guide post. You can find the survival guide on the front page. You've got a feature box for it. It's in the announcement. And you want to check, you've probably seen the post anyway because it links to all of our coverage and it looks really pretty and it's got the flying video. So, leave a comment by September 8th and then we will pick a winner. And it's not in the notes, but the Legion scavenger hunt closed. We got like double the amount of entries we usually get for scavenger hunts, so that's super cool. And we're still getting some prizing codes in, so hopefully in the next week or so we'll be contacting winners with all of that good stuff.
Yeah, and in case you are curious about that model Drake, that's what the dude looks like.
And it's a flying mount, so we picked specifically a flying mount because you can fly in Draenor in style now.
This also goes towards that Drake collector mount achievement too.
I don't think it does because you can only get if you spend like money, and I don't think that. Yeah, it's just a TCG mount, so it's a super.
Oh, that's weird
one.
because the crazy cat lady has like several TCG cats on it.
Huh.
I guess that was.
I don't. Yeah, I think Awake the Drakes is specifically a few of them, but it counts towards your mount total, and there's a new achievement for 300 mounts collected, so it can work towards that. Also, a sort of cool Wowhead side note, we set up charts on Wowhead guides now, and we pull the information from everyone that has an updated Wowhead profile. So if you go to like a holiday guide, you'll see how many Wowhead users have completed an achievement, or like what pet is the most popular. And when we have our Dark Moon Fair post up, you'll be able to see how many people have gotten the achievements and the pets and the toys and the mounts, because maybe you're like, I don't know what to collect. Like, what have a lot of people collected?
Yeah.
So you'll see that on our guides. It's up on a lot of guides already. We'll be making a post in a few days going over just sort of all this if you're not watching the show. And if you have any ideas, you can then leave them in the post about what sort of guides you think want to have charts on them, or what sort of things you want to see.
Perk always does this. She says things in the podcast like, "Oh, if you have any suggestions," and as soon as we turn it off, I'm like, "Perk, you should do this and this and that and this," and she's like, "Danielle, this is not geared towards you."
No, it's so like all the charts right now are like mounts and pets. Like every holiday guide on Wowhead has achievements, pets, mounts, toys. Yeah. So it's totally up your alley. But we want to do them for like how many people have done Chapter 1 versus Chapter 4 of the Legendary Quest line, or like each part of Draenor Pathfinder. So when we put that post up, comment with your stuff, and we could add those charts pretty easily.
Yeah. So I've been excited about this segment of the show all day. I really have. So this is the 50th episode of Wowhead Weekly, and Perk and I just wanted to do something kind of fun. So we're going to be giving away a BlizzCon virtual ticket. We'll announce the winner next week. And what we're going to do is we are going to play 5 rounds of Say Anything, but like a WoW edition. If you guys don't know what Say Anything is, it's literally the easiest game in the world. You just say a word, and then the next person says a word, and the next person says a word, and you can't repeat any words, and then the first person to like trip up is, they lose that round. But we're going to only do like WoW-related words or phrases. And then afterwards, after we're done with our game, which I'm totally going to win, you'll be able to participate on Twitter, and I'll have a bunch of info. I'll link it for you in a minute so that you can see it. But you're basically going to want to tweet at Wowhead using the hashtags #Wowhead Weekly and #SayAnythingWow, along with your choice of WoW word or phrase. And then we're going to use a random number generator when we'll select someone, and we'll announce them next week on Wowhead Weekly episode 51. So if you're watching this whether you're watching this live or you're watching the VOD later on, you have the whole week to enter. So maybe you can think of something really creative that we don't say today. But I'll put some example tweets in the comments so that you can see it after me and Perk go. Do you want to go first, or do you want me to go first?
I'll go first.
Okay.
I am super mad at this. Okay, Invincible.
Wyvern.
Koldara.
Flask.
The Nexus.
Potion.
Oculus.
Khadgar.
Elixir of Giant Growth.
Thrall.
Dark Moon Seesaw.
Azeroth.
Pandaran Water Spirit.
Gnome.
Shrine of 7 Stars.
Arthas.
Alani.
Battle Mount. Big Battle. You win. Okay, that's your round. Round 1 goes to Perk. All right, I'll start round 2.
Okay.
Murloc.
Alani.
Griffin.
The Tillers.
Undead.
Freya.
Troll.
Multi-Strike.
Torrent.
Stormwind.
Strength.
Aki the Chosen.
Paladin.
Rogue.
Bloodlust.
Proving Grounds.
Heroism.
Mutilate.
Undercity.
Voidwalker.
Orgrimmar.
Succubus.
Swift Thistle.
Swift Spectral Griffin.
Swift Spectral Tiger.
Zul'Gurub.
Zul'Aman.
Ruby Spinel.
Swift has Rizashi Raptor.
Magtheridon.
Dang it. I'll take the loss on that one. Okay, so you won 2. This is the tiebreaker. If I win this one, we keep going. If I lose, then you win. You start.
Vanish.
Outland.
Illidan.
Draenor.
Zangarmarsh.
Tyrande.
Lady Vash.
Moonguard.
Ashtongue Cowl.
Ashran.
Hourglass of Eternity.
Ajara.
Wyrmrest Accord.
Staff. Oh, it's been too
you
long.
win this turn.
Okay, so I start now? Oh, man.
Okay.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Okay, again, if you win, you win. Or this is
Okay.
going to go into, like, super overtime. All right.
Okay.
Refreshing spring water.
Isle of Giants.
Conjured mana biscuit.
Throne of Thunder.
Isle Kildonis.
Core Hound Pup.
Flightmaster.
Garrosh.
Ragnaros.
Dagger.
Sword.
Firelands.
Backpack.
Maiev Shadow Song.
Water.
Layara.
Food.
Malfurion.
Illidan.
Blazing Wings.
Pet.
Blurp.
Oh! Dark Moon Fair.
Silas Darkmoon.
Fishing.
Stranglethorn Arena.
Stranglethorn Vale.
The Jukebox.
Chromie.
Garrisons.
Frostfire Ridge.
Battle Pet Roundup.
Water Walking.
Learaj, how you pronounce him.
Spirit Walker's Grace.
Garona Half Orkin.
Draka.
Carrot Eye.
Duratan.
Thrall.
I hate you. You're so proud. Thrall. All right, you win. Perk wins. So you guys get the idea of the game, right? So you just say anything World of Warcraft related. Let me post a couple tweets in the comment section so that you can see the kind of things we want you to tweet. Don't copy these tweets exactly. Try to think of something that we did. Oh my God, somebody said, did somebody say Thunder Fury? How did we not say Thunder Fury?
Yeah, I could have been like Thunder Fury and you could have been like Inflatable Thunder Fury.
I know. That was
I didn't
fun.
wanna do that.
That was really, really fun. So if you guys want to send us a tweet like that, you'll be entered to win a virtual BlizzCon ticket. Very exciting. And we'll announce the winner
if you do
next
get
stream.
the ticket, it gives you access to purchase one goodie bag, which has like the cool BlizzCon merchandise and the pin and the bag and a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, and it also includes all of the digital rewards like Mercadin and whatever else they have
Special
announced
side
yet.
note about Mercadin, I watched his model video for the first time, and if you watch him for about 20 seconds,
He turns.
his skin changes color. That was so cool.
I posted a video
That was
about
it.
that
Yeah.
on Wowhead's Facebook, which I hacked. I'm just kidding. I'm allowed there, I swear. So, I can't wait to see all of you guys' like random WoW words and phrases. I think it'll be a lot of fun. We'll announce the winner next week. If you guys have any questions for us, now's a good time to ask. We'll kill some time in the meantime. Let's play one more round while we wait for people to ask us questions, okay? Want me to start?
Sure, go ahead.
Thunder Fury.
Inflatable Thunder Fury.
Warglaives of Azeroth.
Sulfuron Hammer.
Itish? You know what I'm trying to say.
Blackwing Lair.
Black Rock
I pulled
Mountain.
my thing out of my ear.
I said Black Rock Mountain.
Okay. Black Rock Depths.
Righteous Fury.
Grim Guzzler.
Grim Rail Depot.
Mother Shiraz.
The Oculus.
Blade of Savagery.
Caverns of Time.
Thoridal the Star's Fury.
Archimond.
Sky Shatter Raiment.
Auchindoun.
Star Surge.
Slave Pens.
Disengage.
Shadow Labs.
Arcane Blast.
Arcane Torrent.
Holy Power.
Volley, the long lost hunter spell.
Penance.
Mana.
Power Word Shield.
I don't know why. Every once in a while you just say something and I'm like, oh, Power Word Shield. My mind just goes blank.
It's shiny.
All right. Did you No, someone said that Laura posted on the Twitter that Moonkins are getting a high-res form.
Let's open up Lore and see what he said on his
Open Lore
Twitter.
right up.
Oh,
That's rude.
Wait, 42 minutes ago he did post something. It's
we were filming 42 minutes ago. This stream has been going that long.
Sounds like there's been a misunderstanding somewhere here. Our current plan is that Moonkin Forum will indeed receive a high-res model update in Legion. So yeah, we'll add that to our post. Just for reference. Just for reference, the original tweet, which we got from MMO Central events, was... Let me pull this down. Question, Boomkin, new character model, no big revamp. So, that's what people were going by before, but we'll definitely add that into the post when we are done with the show.
Well, thank you for bringing that to our attention. Looking for questions. All I'm getting is cool words. When will Legion be available to pre-order? We don't know yet.
Yeah, they just added stuff to the data, so, you know, we have the Collector's Edition Mountain Pet, and we found some gear that you'll most likely wear if you are a boosted 100. We have some, like, data strings, but we don't, nothing is live yet. I would assume not before BlizzCon, just because we don't know anything about Legion right now, and they got some backlash for having Warlords
too early.
Like we don't know anything about Warlords, and you're wanting us to buy this, so I feel like this would be even earlier at this point.
Someone just wanted me to tell you that they named all of their ships Tyrann Silence.
Okay.
Cool. That's pretty much all we got, other than did somebody say Thunder Fury Blessed Blade of the Windseeker, which is technically a question. So we'll wrap it up for today. Thank you everybody for joining us. Check out Mina and Perculia's Twitter after this, because we'll tweet a couple examples for the contest, but we're not going to tweet about the contest because we only want people who watch the video. We want so we're not going to, you won't see the contest rules like on Twitter. You might see a couple example tweets, but nobody will know what's going on except for us. This is a big inside joke that you're in on. So, thank you everybody so much for joining us for this week's Wowhead Weekly. We do this every Friday at 6 p.m. Eastern Time, which is 3 p.m. Pacific Time, and close to it. Thank you so much to everybody who has subscribed to us on Twitch. You get to use some cute emotes. There's a Pepe and a rocket. The more subscribers we get, the more emotes we'll get, and of course that helps support the show. Another way that you can support Wowhead is by subscribing to Wowhead Premium, which removes all of the ads from Wowhead and gives you some special features like a special color when you post comments, and also you can track a quest that you need, and
you don't get any ads.
Top. And you don't get any ads.
That's what people care about.
That's the best thing ever. So thank you to everybody who does that. If you do not want to support us monetarily, but you still want to support us, you can always follow us on Twitch, subscribe to us on YouTube, and just check out Wowhead on the daily. So again, I hope that you will join us.
One more thing. We also have a discount code with Blizzard, their gear shop. Wowhead 10 is 10% off now through the end of September on pretty much everything except for the statue that's very expensive.
And then we also have our coupon code through Jinx, which is Wowhead. That'll give you 25% off all t-shirts for the month of September. So we're going to wrap it up. I hope you'll join us next week. Same bat time, same bat channel, and maybe if you can't watch us live, you can watch the VOD on YouTube. We are going to go. I hope you guys all have a wonderful weekend, and we will see you next week.
Yep. Bye.